MashaAllah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept both recitations by Allah and deserve both your boasting, inshaAllah. Amma ba'd. So, as I mentioned, the Ramadan ruling that we are going to look at is that of the Hanafis. But I thought I'd take the chance that when we say Hanafi, how many of us actually understand what that means? And when we say we follow a school of thought, other people have different ideas, different opinions, follow a different mosque. What does all of this mean? And in such a time of confusion, it's saddening. So many of us can't even give a simple description of what we are, that we have to resort to saying, I am a Muslim. But the issue becomes now, we say, look, I am a Muslim, we both say the kalima. And you're right, we do. We both say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. But when I say La ilaha illallah and you say La ilaha illallah, this Allah that we are speaking about, what do you believe about Him? What is He? Who is He? How did He come about? What are His attributes? And as we know, there are so many sects, they have varying beliefs. So some sects believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the ability to lie. Na'udhu billah. How can they say something like that? There are some that say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has body parts. Just that we can't understand them. But we know, we believe, and it's a belief of the Ahlul Sunnah, that Allah is free of all these things, free of direction and space. Now we say Muhammadur Rasulullah, they say it, we say it. We said, do the Qadianis not say Muhammadur Rasulullah? But where does that fear come from? There's another Aqidah point they get from. They say there's another prophet after him. When we say that Muhammadur Rasulullah, we're talking about a living prophet who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sustains in his grave. But then there's another person who says Muhammadur Rasulullah, but he says he's dead. He says it's better to think of a donkey in prayer than to think of him. These are the actual words they use. So just from this point alone, we can establish that in Aqidah there are differences. There are going to be differences. And it's not enough to say, no brother, it's a fitna to discuss it. It's a fitna to argue over them. But it is not a fitna, in fact it's a duty that we understand them. Do you know what is the correct Aqidah? And inshallah throughout Ramadan we will have some courses on Aqidah so you can feel firm and have strength that you know what you believe in. So that is Aqidah on one side. The other main branch of Islam is Fiqh, which inshallah we'll look at for Ramadan. And Fiqh talks about the laws, the rulings, the mu'amalat of humans, our day-to-day lives. Got nothing to do with beliefs, it's more rulings, more commands. Now the issue comes with the madhahib. We know we have 4 schools of thought, but now we have so many sects saying, no, you can follow Quran and Sunnah. Just do it yourself. You don't need to follow an imam. I say, subhanAllah, I openly give a challenge to anyone that I'll give you the Quran and it says, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ. Just from that and the hadith, you show me how to pray salah. You show me where you have to raise the hands for takbir like this. Show me where you get subhanallahumma. Show me where you get ta'awuz, tasmiyah, al-fatiha. Show me in this order. And they won't be able to. So the issue that we then revert back to is that, okay, since I can't do it myself, I need to find somebody who can. And alhamdulillah, we say these 4 imams that Allah has given us, they're a gift. Because they've given us these laws that we can't understand ourselves. So inshallah, just a short introduction into that. So we have the 4 schools of thought. And now, again, I don't like to talk about these things. I don't like to speak about, the freak between the ummah. But I have to mention it for the sake of us knowing it. So we talk about the Salafis. I don't like to call them that because we don't believe they are on the Salaf. So we'll call them Taymiyun, followers of Ibn Taymiyyah. They say that you can't follow any of these schools of thought. You follow whatever you believe. Whatever you find in Quran and Sunnah, you have to follow that. So for example, I'll give you just 2 of their rulings they say which are quite odd. They say that since the Prophet ﷺ said that a man and a woman should pray the same. The hadith said this. We know our fiqh has told us how men should stand and how women should stand. They say no. Since the Prophet said that men and women should pray the same, just as men spread their legs in namaz, a woman should stand like that. Since a man goes into ruku and bends at a 90-degree angle, a woman should pray like that. They say, how can you get rulings like that? But this is the problem when you come with no guidance or no bedrock in this faith. So we have 4 schools, the Hanafis, the Shafi'is, the Hanbalis and the Malikis. The Hanafis are us. We know how we all read Salah. We are Pakistani by origin, I'm guessing most of us. So we would fall into this category of the Hanafis, just where our population chose. The Shafi'is are those followers of fiqh who actually raise their hands in salah. This is the Shafi'i way. They actually say niyat is part of wudu, just like masa or farz masa, a quarter of the hair. But for the Shawafi, it is just one strand of hair. One strand of hair is wet, you've done your wudu. So I'm just giving you a few examples. The Hanbalis are the followers of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, and the Malikis are the followers of Imam Malik. So Saudi Arabia, Makkah, Medina, they are Hanbalis by name, by action, Allahu Akbar. Now people will argue about this. Look, how can they take this interpretation? And this is where it all refers back to. 1 second. Yes. Can you see that on the screen? The red pointer? Mm-hmm. All four schools are taken from the Quran and Sunnah. You would have heard the word bid'ah thrown around. Again, these are topics I'm just slightly touching on. I can't expand on them. They talk about bid'ah. And while we say that your whole point is moot, it means nothing, because when we say bid'ah, we say we take it from Quran and Sunnah. The bid'ah that we all reject is that which is not found in Quran and Sunnah. That which is found in Quran and Sunnah, we accept it if it's a good thing. So these are the four schools, and they are all right in their own way.
Did you say Saudi Arabia follow the Hanbalis?
Yes. By name they follow them, by action, Allahu Alam. So these are the four groups, and every single one of them is on the haq. They are right in their own perspective, which I'm going to look at. So it can't be a case that, for example, we don't say Amin out loud, do we? The Shawafi do. The Shafi say it out loud. So is it a case that we can point a finger at them, oh brother, you read it wrong? It's not. Our hadith says you don't say Amin out loud, their hadith does. So they follow whatever perspective they got. Now in Aqidah, this is the main thing that the whole Muslim is divided upon. Before it used to be the Sunni Shia conflict, now it's the Deobandi, Sunni, Brezi, it's all these different groups now. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the one that's mentioned in the hadith, that 73 sects will be made of this ummah, and only one will go to Jannah, that's the Jama'ah. We believe we are that Jama'ah. And we are this group, the Maturidis. So there were two schools of Aqidah that are accepted after Sunnah, the Ash'aris and the Maturidis. Some of you, fortunately, may have heard some of these. And for those of you that don't, these are the two groups. So either one is the Ash'ari or the Maturidi, his Aqidah is Sahih, is correct. There will be minor differences. So look how I said here. Both are derived from Quran and Sunnah. So someone might ask, woman, if this is Aqidah from him, and he came 200, 300 years after the Prophet, how can this be the Aqidah of the Salaf? And it's such a simple point. All these Imams did, and it was bid'ah, was write what the Salaf acted upon. As Islam was developing, they were writing Aqidah books, thinking that what are the later generations going to do. They began to write them at this point, because this is when Mu'tazilah began to come about, people with different schools of Aqidah. And then they say, okay, you said there should only be one group of Ahlul Sunnah, why there two? There's absolutely no difference in the Ru'yat of these. We don't differ in things which are bound by Islam that you have to believe in. The only thing they differ in is small things such as when we hear the speech of Allah, we're going to hear it from our physical ears, or we're going to hear it from some other way. The words of Allah, do they contain sound or do they not contain sound? These are minute issues. But on the major issues which we actually have differences with other sects, we agree on here. And the Ash'aris are Imam Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari was a student of Imam Shafi'i, and Imam Abu Mansur al-Maturidi was a student of Imam Abu Hanifa. And we are Hanafi Maturidis. Hanafi in fiqh, Maturidi in Aqidah. Please remember that point. We are Hanafi in fiqh and Maturidi in Aqidah. So now we've transpired that point of you saying, I'm a Muslim brother. That's not our identity. Our identity is much richer than that. It's much more ancient than that. So I'll give you a few examples just quickly so you can understand. When they talk about differences in fiqh, it is just a matter of perspective. So this person looking here sees the number 6, he's not wrong, is he? But the person on the other side is looking at the number 9, he's not wrong either. This is what we say, these are four Imams, they all have four different opinions. How can they be on the Sahih Aqidah, how can they be on the Sahih Fiqh? We say this is why, they are only going based on that perspective, and this is what Allah judges upon. And you see through the Quran examples.
Who are the Asharis then?
The Asharis is an Aqidah group.
Yeah.
So
where the Maturidis? Who's the ones?
the Asharis are the Shafis.
Right.
So you find them around here. Again, they both branch into the groups. But the Maturidis, since we are Pakistani, most of our constituents made up of Hanafi Maturidis. But you'll find a few now, Hanafi Asharis, Shafi Maturidis, you'll find a blend. So please keep this in mind, this is a principle, that is just a matter of perspective. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that وَإِن كُنْتُمْ جُنُبًا فَاتَّطَهَّرُوا, that when you become impure, in an impure state, then purify yourselves. And then Allah said وَإِن كُنْتُمْ, and I'm just going to skip this part, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ لَمَسْتَمُ النِّسَاءَ, and if you have touched women, فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً, and if you do not find water, فَتَيَمَّمُوا. So now just on this point, if you have touched women and you don't find water, then perform tayammum. Now they're going to analyze this, then what does that mean? So when I touch a woman, there must be two meanings. Either you literally touch her by a hand like this, or it is talking about something intimate, it's talking about intercourse at this point. Imam Shafi, I'm trying to just show you the perspectives, that how they're not wrong. When you see their point, you know what, they've actually got a point. But Hanafi, the Lamda, we feel our points are stronger, obviously. Imam Shafi says to touch a woman will break wuzu even without desire. So you can imagine that. I don't know if any of you have been to Turkey, maybe been to the Hagia Sophia. It's a Shafi'i mosque. And what I found quite odd is that this is their ruling, but in that masjid, it's a very tourist-centric place, there's men and women brushing shoulders. So by way of Imam Shafi's goal, wouldn't most of the people that have entered there have broken their own wuzu by their own fiqh?
Can I just ask, because my aunties when they were at school 50, 60 years ago used to wear gloves, so they wouldn't have to touch a man's hand when shaking hands.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the same thing? If they shook a hand, that would break your wuzu as well then?
So they're talking about any touch. Even if you touch a hand, but this is talking about ghair mahram. Someone who you cannot get, someone who you can't get married to, sorry.
Right.
And this is by perspective of the man. If the woman touched a man, the wuzu would break. The Quran talks about if you're a man and you touch a woman. That's what it's talking about.
Okay.
So you look at Imam Shafi and the evidence he gives, like when you look at the evidence, you see, you know what scholars did, it makes sense. The Prophet said that the zina of the hand is touching. The zina of the eyes is what? Looking. The zina of the hand is a touching. And in the hadith in Arabic, the Prophet uses the word al-lams. Lam, mim and sin, the same root letters. So since the Prophet used it in this hadith that I've read, and Allah said in the Quran, I think it means physical touch. He's going with that ruling. Imam Abu Hanifa said, no, it's not literal. It doesn't make sense for it to be literal. Rather, it means to have intercourse, and then you become into an impure state. What's his proof that it's not touching physically? Imam Abu Hanifa narrates the hadith that Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha narrates. When the Prophet would prostrate, he would poke me. So when the Prophet was going into sajda, he would poke me because they were right next to each other. I would draw my legs up, and when he stood up, I would stretch them out again. If on Imam Shafi'i's call that the wuzu would break, or the wuzu would break based on touching, why did it not break to the Prophet at that moment? When you realize that this is how they think, this is how logical they were. Imam Malik and Imam Muhammad took a more, took a step back from making a decision on this, but rather they made a opinion between the both of them. They said, okay, if the touching was done with desire, then it invalidates wuzu. Like you mentioned, the shaking of the hand. Most generally many people are not going to shake hands with any desire of that sort. But there will be men that will. But this one he talks about includes them that if it's done with desire, then it invalidates wuzu. Otherwise, it will not. And again, just trying to reconcile. And ours is the strongest opinion. Why? We say throughout the Quran, Allah uses this word and He speaks about it regarding intercourse. So it's not just about this verse, look at the other verses what Allah uses. Wa'adu zakat. Who has to pay zakat? As it's commanded in the Quran. Hanafi, Shafi, the Hanbali say zakat is not wajib on a non-Muslim. Maliki say no, both have to pay zakat, Muslim and non-Muslim. So you see, they all agree that the one who is able and competent must pay zakat. What's the difference? Who is able to pay? That's all the difference is. And now we come down to hadith now. You can say, no, but they all learn. You say, no, I've got hadith for it. When they have a proof, you say, okay, that's yours, but I feel this hadith is stronger. And you might wonder, okay, how can they decide which hadith is stronger? Sometimes just by the people who are narrating it. Just by those in the chain of narration, they say, you know what, this chain is stronger, it's got better Sahaba in it. we're going to take this one. So this is how they were graded. I'll give you this one in regards to the positioning of the hands. A big sign, I guess you could say, of someone's faith or someone's idea of thought. So you can see here it starts that from the Salafi, like I mentioned, the followers in Jamia, they hold it at the chest. The Shafi'is hold it between the belly button and between the chest, and that's true of their opinions. The Hanbalis and the Hanafis are both agreed that it is just above the navel. Now, again, I'll just skip through this. You can see each one has their own points of hadith. They read a hadith and they said, look, for the Malikis, for example, I'm not sure if many of you know, we read the Malik like this, don't we? And the Shafi'is like this. The Malikis actually read with their hands down on their sides. So they read like this, that's how they read. And it was I remember before I even read this, I used to find it so confusing. How can they read like this? And then you read that hadith that whenever the Messenger of Allah would stand up to pray, he would raise his hands until they were parallel with his shoulders. Then say Allahu Akbar until each bone became settled in its place straightly. That's what their main crux of the argument is, straightly. I mean, he must have had it straight in limbs. And the Shafi'i, like us, again, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was one of the main sources for this issue, that he saw Ali grasping his left wrist with his right hand above the navel. And the Taymiyun, like you must see like this, you have to understand on the chest is not accepted whatsoever. For the sisters it is, and we understand why for modesty. But for the men, this is actually called takfir, not takfir of making them non-Muslim, but it's the position of holding on the chest. And Imam Ahmad says this, the Malikis. And takfir in history, if you read the books, they actually mention that this was how the Christians and Jews used to worship. They used to worship like this out of humility. But we say, look, the hadith has given us the way to pray. The way that the Jews and Christians go like this, but the way that the Muslims is down here. So I hope that little introduction gave you a bit of understanding about the school of fiqh and how our differences are not so different, rather they just matter the perspective.
Sorry, you probably come on to this later, but do all the different sects, do they believe in the 5 pillars?
All sects, well, it depends what you're talking about, the sects of fiqh or you're talking about the sects of aqidah. Now the sects of aqidah, they agree in the 5 pillars of fiqh. No one can even deny they compare to Muslim, but it differs in how they apply them or how they understand them. You understand? Okay. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Baqarah verse 83, He said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That all you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you, and it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may become God-fearing. Now the question comes, what does it mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to attain piety through taqwa? And how can fasting attain this? And the ulama, Shaykh the other saying to the other side, he gives a example. He said, imagine that on a hot day, and again a few Ramadan ago it was boiling, in a hot day where you are panting with thirst, your mouth, your tongue is dry, and there's water readily available for you everywhere. Other people are drinking around you. But you abstain from that just because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. He made it halal for you, I'm allowed to drink water, but Allah said in this month I shouldn't do it, I'm not going to do it. Just for that reason alone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings you closer to Him. When it comes to intimacy, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made halal, one of the most detested sins to do outside of marriage. Allah says, when you feel that urge and He controls it for my sake, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings that person closer. So this is the dimensions that they speak about when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you can attain piety through this. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala reports that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam reported that man sawma Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu, that whoever fasted in Ramadan for true faith and hoping for reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all his past sins are forgiven. غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ. And again, fasting in true faith is an obvious part of it. But one of the things that a common question is, Allah says to do it for reward. But if I do it for reward, am I not a Muslim person? Am I not asking for, so I'm not doing it for Allah, then I'm doing it for Jannah. I'm doing it because I'm scared of the hellfire, I'm scared of being punished in the grave. And this is not the point. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala understands our nature. Which one of us will go to work every day if we're not going to get paid? We are people that work on a return basis, aren't we? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala understands that better than anyone. So He knows that people are going to be weak, they'll fast. But one of the main things keeping them back, everyone's going to be God fearing and God conscious. Some people are just going to be scared of hell. Some people are going to want a palace in Jannah. Some people are going to want treasures. This is how this works. So then,
if you can't fast due to medical conditions, where do you go based on what you've just read?
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, when they speak about these sort of things, for example, I give you a masala like that. A scholar was asked, he said that if I fast, this was a woman asking, she goes, if I fast all day and then 10 minutes before Maghrib, my menses starts. She goes, will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept my fast? And the alim writes that there is a mufti actually that read this, and he goes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is accepted of all deeds. He knows your nature better than everyone, and He knows you are out of control of this. So why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not accept it from you?
So it's your niyat then,
So it's your niyat, it's your heart, it's what you want. Say for example, the one that doesn't fast. Really an advice for him is, in your heart, be sad about that. Be sad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about that fasting is rewarded by me, and you might miss out on that. You won't miss out, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is too rewarding. But feel sad, I'm not going to be able to fast. My station in front of Allah might be a bit lower. But again, I say this to convince yourself, really Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will elevate your maqam through that. So that's the point. So when you fast, don't shy away from wanting something from Allah. Allah made you so you're asking for something. When He talks about Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, He wants you to ask for forgiveness all the time. So these are the spiritual aspects. The mental aspect, or aside from the physical, you could say, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed throughout by the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that whoever does not give false statements, telling lies and evil deeds and speaking bad words to others, Allah is not in need of his fasting, leaving his food and drink. So for those of you that attended the Jummah this week, I mentioned that there are 3 levels of a Muslim in this month. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the first, which is the layman. And the layman is the one who just leaves his just leaves his food, leaves his drink, and leaves intimacy. That's a layman. But really, when we stand in front of Allah, we have the chance, we really want to be laymen. We want to be the next level, which is the elect. And the elect are these people. Well, again, the opposite of these people. The ones that do give up bad deeds. The ones who have bad habits, they're a regular backbiter. But in this month, they abandon that backbiting. They are the ones that reach that level of the elect. Those people who lie, they stop lying, even if it is just in this month. They have attained the fasting of the elect people. The elect people called the pious. And look how heavy the words are of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't matter you starved yourself for an entire month. It doesn't matter you starved yourself for your entire lifetime for my sake. When I told you that I hate lying, when you were told that He hates backbiting, why did you not avoid that? So what's the need of giving for example, let's think of it as a gift we're giving Allah. It's a plate we're giving. You give Him a gift of food, but on top of that plate, you throw a bit of dirt on top of it. You sprinkle some poison on top. What gift is that then? This is how we should say. We say, look, Allah is the most rewarding, even if I just fast. And I just try to be my best, Allah is rewarding. Yes, but we should hold ourselves to a higher account. Say, no, I have to avoid these things as well. And look at this again, these words of the Prophet ﷺ hold such weight. Fasting is a shield. Alhamdulillah, it's a shield. Look how easily the shield can be broken by lies and backbiting. So we don't even acknowledge we're doing. But this is the thing that in Ramadan, this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us that we're actively thinking, I shouldn't lie, it's Ramadan. It's odd that it takes us a month to have to realize how bad it is, but again, we do. And this is why we should practice in this month that inshallah, afterwards we will be able to bear it. But khair, inshallah, we are short on time, so we'll get on to the ruling of fasting.
Question again.
Yeah.
If you carry on afterwards being, the things you've given up, like lying and backbiting, then is that obviously different to if you then go back to it after Ramzan?
It is, well, it depends to what extent you go back to it. Again, we hope that the person in Ramadan who exercises that, reserve in not lying, not backbiting, he'll lie less or he'll backbite less after Ramadan. But our point is that it's not the point that, he started lying again in Ramadan, basically. We say Allah is so merciful just on the basis of that Ramadan, he may be admitted into paradise. Just for that sake of Ramadan, he may be forgiven for all his sins. I also repeat that same hadith, about the prostitute, the woman who used to sell herself. We know the maqam of that woman who sells herself like that. And she was forgiven for everything she did just by giving water to a dog. You're giving water to a dog, what skin is it off her back? But us, we give up water every day. She gave up water to a dog, we give up water every day for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why do we not hope Allah will forgive us for that? Or help us through that? So again, I always reiterate that Islam is all about mindset. Allah said, whoever thinks good of me, I shall treat him like that. But whoever thinks bad of me, or thinks of me as some angry God, will get treated like that then. Allah said this. So khair. Sawm literally means al-imsak wal-kaffu an ash-shari', that to abstain and to refrain from something, and shari'atan, refraining from all those things that from which the fast breaks, from the rising of the sun to its setting. Min dulu' al-fajr ila ghurub ash-shams is a very critical point. And when they say this is how rigid the rulings are, and you'll see inshallah that we'll go through. Any question you have, please ask throughout, or you can ask at the end. And the sisters that are downstairs, if you have any questions, then you may write them down on the notes or cards provided. Inshallah, we'll answer them at the end. The moon sighting. Again, I could go into the technicalities of this. The only reason I mention is that we have our scholars, we know which moon to follow. But sadly, we have such division in the Ummah that we have 2 Eids, we have 2 Ramadans being celebrated at the moment. Even now, Saudi have announced the Eid already, even though it was virtually impossible to see it by any scientific method. To the extent, if our words are not enough, I believe the chief astronomer of the Gulf regions, Adil As-Sanus, who said that if Saudi declare that it is Ramadan today, I am going to resign from my position of announcing Ramadan. When their own people are taking that stand, then you know there's something going on. And you know what the reason was? These are exact words. Because now I will know that falsehood has taken over truth. What did we say when the Quran came? That the truth has come and falsehood has perished. But what are the end times? That falsehood will take precedence, truth will come down. And that's the case we live in. They can't even show the picture. How can they not show one picture? When there's people all around you with smartphones that are showing them, not even scholars, not astronomers. Okay.
Wasn't it a few years ago that the Imam from Saudi Arabia said that other countries shouldn't follow them because they should look for their own moon sighting in their own country, as it says in Islam?
That was actually Mufti Menk. Again, one of a senior figure in the world, isn't he? Again, he's not about Aqidah, but he is a massive scholar on social media. Many people follow him. And he himself said to the people, now why are you following us? It's like in my house and someone's trying to get in, I say, brother, I don't want you to come in. And I'm still trying to force my way in. That's what they're doing. They say, brother, stop following us, leave us alone. You do your own thing. But still, this is what I'm trying to say to you. This is why I went through that first part of Fiqh and Aqidah. Because it's saddening how far people have felt. It's saddening how much division there is. That Allah, we have to eat again this year. When we have to eat in different masajid to people that we go to work with. We have to eat separate to those that we go to school with. These are the issues that are created. And again, you forget into the issue whether this is a intentional division of the ummah, but that's a separate topic. Bismillah. So the intention of the niyat. So I'm actually getting into the actual fiqh of Ramadan now. The niyat must be made before suhoor time or before midday, provided you're not even since suhoor. Again, most of us will wake up for Sari, inshallah, but some people actually sleep over, don't they? They wake up after Sari time. And the misconception is of Bismillah Ramadan. The ruling is that you have until midday. You have until midday to make your intention. But there's a condition that you have not eaten since the old time. Remember that condition. So if you wake up, you've not eaten anything, and it's before midday, make your niyat. You've got fast still that day.
But you can't eat it like you
No,
would
you
have
can't
said.
eat.
Right, okay.
So some might think, oh, I missed Sari, let me have Sari quickly, I'll make my intention. No, you missed that time. You've gone past that time, but you still got time to make niyat. So you can make a niyat. It is sunnah to say it verbally. Sunnah. So again, we see on the calendar, we make our niyat verbally, and it's a sunnah. But you don't have to. It's valid even if said in the heart. But the condition for the fast of Ramadan is, it has to be explicit. You can't say, oh, I'm going to fast tomorrow. You have to say, I intend to fast. You don't say the first fast. I intend to fast the fast of Ramadan tomorrow if you're doing it before Suhoor, or the fast of today if you're doing it after Suhoor time. That's your intention that you make. And just for the sisters, that women that become pure before midday still cannot fast. Again, this is just a miscellaneous ruling, but if they become pure after Sehri time, and even though they believe this first point that you can still make intention, you have missed a chance. This is specific for the sisters. Sehri, to delay it is mustahab. Again, you shouldn't delay it to the point where it gets dangerous, as many of us do. You know, we're counting down for 10 seconds, then we get many gulps of water down. It's dangerous to do it like that. Again, you risk not nullifying your fast altogether. And the iftar, to hasten it is mustahab. Again, we think, oh, if I delay my iftar, Allah will give me more blessings. Opposite. Allah knows you worked hard, open it, give me your gift now. And one other misconception, we all have seen it, maybe every must have been to that. We don't read the iftari dua. We read it before we start eating. And if you look in the Arabic and what the scholars say, you meant to read it afterwards. Allahumma inni laka sumtu, oh Allah, for you I have fasted. Wa bika amantu, and in you I believe. Wa alayka tawakkaltu, and upon you I believe, I trust. Wa ala rizqika aftartu, and with your sustenance I have aftartu, broken my fast. So you have to eat first, even if it be one day, then make your dua. That's how the dua is meant to be read. But again, it's a case of our masajid that for some reason, so we do ulta.
So is it like a slight misunderstanding there?
It's a literal thing. You look at the Arabic, it will make sense. I have broken my fast. You're not eating anything yet. How have you broken it? And then you look at the sunnah, how it was applied, you look at the scholarship, and they all say that it's meant to be done afterwards. Okay, so this is the point for brothers to remember. So when you make your dua, or the Imam is making dua, you can tell him in secret, obviously not in front of people. Two principles. So now the main part of Ramadan is, Ya Imam, what breaks my fast, what doesn't break my fast. I want you to remember two guiding principles. If you don't understand them, I can simplify them. You may ask sometimes, oh, Imam Sahib, does this break my fast, does this not? These are the principles it's based upon. Whatever enters by the pores of the skin does not invalidate fasting. So whatever enters by the pores, and you know, we'll explain this, for example, injections now. Now the question is, insulin injections, these sort of things, do they break the fast? And we say, as Hanafis, the Hanafi principle is that no, it doesn't. Hashat Ahawi. So that's the first point. Second point, when does the fast become invalid? When something enters via the roots, the passageways, through the mouth, through the nose, through the ear, if it has a perforated eardrum. They are the roots of the passageway. An easy way to understand this, how I usually remembered it was, you know, wuzu. The nullifiers of wuzu are something exiting the body. The nullifiers of fasting are something that enters the body. So wuzu, when something exits the body, and fasting when something enters the body. So inshallah, we look at these 2 points. 2 penalties to remember. Some of them I will mention, some of them I won't. People have to know this. Al-qada and al-kafara. Most of the times someone breaks the fast will fall into qada. Sometimes when you really gone against the rule, it's a kafara. So qada means it just you have to make it up. You have to make it up. And it is done mistakenly, or it's a legal excuse. For example, someone says, look, I'm really ill. You know that someone, has a bit of a flu, or he's coughed in the morning and goes, oh, I can't fast today. You have to really hold yourself to account and think, when I stand in front of Allah, can I really claim I was ill? Would it stop me from going out to work? Would it stop me from earning £200, £300 for a job if I was called? If not, then you're not that ill. Yeah.
What about if you've got like a blood test? Does that break your fast?
Inshallah, we're going to look at that.
All right.
Traveling, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just the next ayat after I mentioned, He speaks about traveler. If you're traveling and the minimum of traveling, which inshallah I'm going to come to, is 57.5 miles, you have to make it up. And coercion again, very
What about on
rarely.
a plane? Because you're covering loads of different time zones as well.
No, so inshallah we'll cover that as well. And the kafara. You must fast. So again, this is a harsh punishment if you think about it. You must fast 60 days continuously or feed 60 poor people 2 meals, 420 pounds.
Wow.
And you got to think, if someone breaks the kafara twice, 840, if he breaks it 10 fasts in his lifetime, so over 4 grand he's got to give now. And they say, the question is, or the question of hikmah, why would Allah put such a harsh penalty? All the punishments that Allah gives, He does not want to give, they are deterrents. Allah does not want to punish, and if you actually look at it, again I don't want to go too much in these topics, it become long talks, but Allah doesn't want to punish, rather than deterrent. They want to put you off of doing this. So someone hears Allah, they get a 400 pound tikka, he goes, okay, you know, I need to know my rulings, I don't fall into that. That fasting 60 days continuously, that's not just, you know, I do 60 days whenever. 60 days in a row. Say you get to the 59th day, and you get to 10 minutes before Maghrib time, and you break it, go back to the beginning, go back to step 1. How harsh it is. Again, it's to scare you, isn't it? Now make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure. Again, Allah is merciful. If someone doesn't know the ruling that results in kafara, you won't have to. And the kafara was results in stuff that are done intentionally or without legal excuse. Like I mentioned, the guy goes, oh, I've got a bit of a sniffle today, so start eating. Brother, get ready for your kafara then, because you've not got a legal excuse. The one who's traveling but he's not gone as far as 57.5 miles, which is a legal ruling, you have to give a kafara. You did it wrong. And then 60 poor people, 2 meals. It's not like food bank quality sort of food, you know, like just cans, the cheapest favorite value you can find. Rather, it has to be good quality meal, something you would eat yourself. And their stomach has to be filled. This is one of the conditions. Their stomach has to be filled. So again, that's how they work out 420 pounds.
So it's almost like giving sadaqah, isn't it?
It is.
You know the traveling, if you do over 57 miles, you do have to fast?
No, if you go over 57.5, then you don't have to fast. But again,
you
Allah...
don't have to make it up either.
No, you have to make it open.
Right.
You just don't have to fast.
Right.
Because Allah understands that if you're
Yeah.
traveling,
Yeah.
I get thirsty, hungry. But Allah again says, if you've got the strength too fast, there's more rewarding than too fast.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier in this country.
Yeah.
You don't cover different time zones.
That's
you
right,
know.
yeah.
So for example, if someone's in Saudi Arabia, they're doing ziyarah, they're going here and there, and if they exceed that mileage, in such a hot country, it can be difficult to bear all of that, especially in a coach or whatever it may be. So you have a legal excuse. Okay. So I'll start with what breaks the fast, and then each slide by slide we'll go through them, and then inshallah we'll get to what doesn't break the fast. Eating, obviously, they're the main 3. Intentional, if you eat intentionally, it's a kafara, including that which is stuck between the teeth. So might do sari, read fajr, and go to sleep. And you wake up and you find you got bits of, I don't know, paratha, whatever he's eaten the night before, and you've got it stuck between his teeth. If he wakes up and that goes down his throat, kafara. You have to make sure that you clean your mouth. You have to be careful with what's in your mouth.
So you can do it with water, if you sort of do a kulli with water and get rid of it.
Again, I'm going to kulli. So you have to do that. Again, that kulli as well, you have to be careful with as well. The drinking, so actually that's the next point. Intentional kafara, including gargling for wudu, if one knows he is fasting. If you know you are fasting and you gargle carelessly and water goes down, you have to give a kafara as well. But if you forgot, you didn't know you were fasting and you gargling it down, there's no issue.
Can happen.
So the gargling, when you do wudu, should be to the throat. When you're gargling and you're doing it for Ramadan, just keep it to the teeth and the molars. Be careful for it to not go back. And when you do, make sure you try to spit as much as you can out. Or if you don't say completely dry your mouth out by consistently spitting, that's unnatural. There'll be a bit of moisture still left, but Allah inshallah will allow us for that. Intercourse, obviously anything done intentional, if done by mistake or out of forgetfulness, there's no kafara, but there's a qada then. So like I mentioned here, all those that are done forgetfully, and you stop in that moment. Someone's eating, and I remember, then he puts it down, there's no qada. His fast is still going. But if I carry on eating, it's a qada. Someone is drinking, and I stop while I'm fasting, and I take another sip, qada. soon as having intercourse, and then he remembers midway, oh, I'm fasting, and he carries on, it's kafara. But if you do it intentionally from the beginning, kafara. Vomit. Again, there's a lot of written just on the vomit section regarding fasting. It only breaks the fast when one, it is a mouthful, and two, is deliberate. If it is a mouthful and deliberate. Again, I don't know what scenario someone would deliberately make themselves vomit that much, but this is the case. Again, I look at vomit in the next part, that if it's less than a mouthful, if it's a mouthful and not unintentional. But remember this point, if you vomit a mouthful and you swallow it, it's a qada. Anything other than that relating to vomit does not break your fast.
So how long has that been in existence? Because we were always told when we were younger, that if you vomited even by accident, that was the end of your fast.
Again, this is my point that, when you take fiqh, you have to study. I did the calf last year, they told me if I change my clothes, my calf breaks. For 10 days, you meant to stay in the same clothes, if I shows the ruling. And when they say rulings like that based off no evidence, how are they going to stand it? Allah says this. You make rules in my law without proof, you're going to stand before me then. So again, these are, especially in our subcontinent, we're just made of all sorts.
What if you say it's come out, do you spit it out?
So it's about,
fasting.
Actually, it's a good point you mentioned actually. When they say mouthful, what they mean is it gets to a point where you struggle to keep it in. So when your cheeks are coming out of it, and it's come to this point, that's what it means by mouthful. Anything less than that, when it's not difficult to contain, that's less than a mouthful. You should spit it. But if it's less than a mouthful and it goes back down, then it doesn't break it.
Because sometimes
if you just in public, you have to just look at it fasting. You have to think about the broader spectrum of things. If you're in public, it's more appropriate that you take it back in. But it's about intention.
Because when you sort of feel you're going to be sick, you sort of hold it, rush to the bathroom. Would that break it then? Because it would be in your mouth.
But that's unintentional.
Right, okay.
Remember, it's a mouthful and that's what I'm there. So these are both complementary.
Right.
Okay, it's a mouthful. If it's not deliberate, then no issue. Okay. If it is deliberate, then there's an issue. Fragrance. So, if I put fragrance on and I walk past you and you smell it, doesn't break. But if I spray it right here and I go, such that the vapor that you can see actually goes into your nose, your fast breaks. Because in order for a fragrance or a smoke or a smell not to break your fast, it has to have mixed with the air.
Right.
I know I'm getting quite technical, but these are the only ways that the points can be understood.
So is that the same as ither?
Sorry, what's it?
Is that the same as ither or is that different?
No, but ither is not really a spray.
Right.
Again, someone should avoid taking it to that extent. Say, for example, if I put it here,
right,
and I'm not rubbing it in, and if someone takes a hard enough sniff, some of that, whatever you could say,
they're in sprays now, you
smell,
see.
can actually hit the throat. And like I mentioned, what breaks the fast? Through the passages, the mouth and the nose. You have to be careful.
Okay.
Okay. So if one should be careful of, just not to over-smell it, but again, no one is the right man lying over that. What breaks the fast? Smoking. Anything which is inhaled that reaches the lungs from the brain, vaping is included in that. Again, it's a pandemic or epidemic, say about people that they smoke this much, but again, Allah reward them for those that abstain from it during that time. But again, those that feel they can do it during the fast, their fast will break. Leeway, I guess, for those that are really struggling are nicotine patches. If you remember the principle I said, anything observed by the pores does not break it. So the two ways to take nicotine, by a passage or by a pore. By a passage is by a cigarette, and by a pore is by a nicotine patch. And a nicotine patch does not break the fast according to our ulama. A woman enters the masjid during the fast. So even if it comes during that fast, say example it's 7 o'clock, no maybe it's at 8, she must make that fast with her qada. But there's no sin upon her. Like I mentioned, Allah will accept it as He did. Bleeding gums. Again, what I'll put next to these points are conditions for them to break the fast. It will only break the fast if the blood in your mouth, if it overwhelms the saliva, or you can taste it. Two things. I put and all because they can both come together or separate. If you were to spit into the sink and there was more red than white or yellow, then your fast will break. And if you tasted it into the back of your mouth, at the back of the throat, then it would break. Contact lens. Again, a lot of people wear glasses, some may wear contact lenses. Now, the issue comes is the solution that is on that. We actually say, it's a very modern ruling now based on science, that we actually say, the passageway between the eye and the throat is actually a manfaz. And a manfaz in Arabic speaks about a passageway. So the old, I know some may come back to me and say, yeah, Imam, I've read somewhere that the eyes are not a passageway, it doesn't break. Science now supports that the eye is a passageway. I can't remember the name, it starts with the end of some sort of duct that is in here, and that can pass through into the throat.
Nasal duct. The nasal duct.
No.
No, the other one. The eye one, yeah? Is that the one you're meaning?
It's not nasal, it's something else in the eye.
Right, okay.
Like eye drops, if you need them. Like,
Okay, so
eyes are painful,
So I'll come to that point. So the contact lenses, for example, you can put them in the contact lens case, can't you? Put solution on them. If they say a condition of that is that you must make sure there's no solution like remaining on it. And the way of seeing that is that if you were to hold it here, would anything drip off? If it's moist, it's wet with the solution, that's how it's going to be used. That's okay. But if you were to take it directly out and it's still got moisture on it that's not completely absorbed into it, and you put it into your eye, they say the fast will break. Now with eye drops, the modern ruling now is that eye drops will break the fast. Eye drops will break the fast.
If you like painful eyes and you need them, still.
Now if there's painful eyes and someone in that case where he said, look, I can't survive until then there would be rukhsat, we'll have to look at that. Again, it goes case by case when it comes to them points. So these rulings I'm given are very general. But again, if you look into the higher level books of fiqh, for example, they go into a lot of detail with each masala.
So does it depend really how far medical it is and how far it's not medical?
I'm going to come to that as well. Maybe I'll put that slide first, but it's going to come to a point where you can make a decision.
To get dry eyes, you can't get very painful.
100%. And again, like we say, Allah wants ease for us, never put it in hardship. So again, if someone got to that point where he needs eye drop, he can. Like I said, in fiqh is a beautiful thing that in Hanafi you get some scholars that say you can't use them, some that you can't. I know that now the Islami say that you can't use them, but there are other groups that say you can use them. So again, Allah gave us that beauty that you can follow which opinion is stronger or better for you.
Okay.
But again, the what I'm going to give is what I feel is the strongest opinion. Eating after suhoor. So say for example, someone is eating and they just say eating a bowl of cereal. And it comes to a point where suhoor is at 4 o'clock, picks up his phone, it's 4:02, and he's still eating. His fast is gone for that day. He can't fast. Different to, say for example, he had started his fast, he started eating and he remembered I'm fasting and stopped. His fast will still continue. But because he's broke over into suhoor time, he's missed a chance to make his fast now. Because what was the condition I said about niyat? You can make it before suhoor or after suhoor on the condition that you've not eaten. He's eaten after suhoor, hasn't he? So now you can't go back. Here.
Okay.
You can make intention. He said, no, I can make intention. But brother, you broke this rule. You've eaten after suhoor time. That's a condition for fast. You can't eat anything after suhoor time.
Even if it's done not knowing.
Yeah, even if you're not knowing.
Can I ask another question there? Sorry. If you're sort of delayed, but it's not sunrise yet, because the setting time sometimes is a lot before sunrise. Because I always thought if you can get it done before sunrise, then you can have your fast, or can't you do that?
Sorry, do that again.
When you say setting time is over, it's normally there's a difference of between 15, 20 minutes, half an hour before sunrise. So as long as you've done your seri before sunrise, does that equate?
No, seri and sunrise.
Yeah.
Even now, I think now there's about a 2-hour gap. Seri is the start of Fajr. Sunrise goes at the end of Fajr.
Right.
So when you're talking about sunrise is here.
Yeah.
You're talking about seri, which is here.
So where do you start?
Seri time. Before
Right.
Seri.
Okay.
So Seri literally is Fajr start time. Look at calendar, you want to know when Seri is, look at Fajr start time.
That's what I got confused, because obviously when you learn it when you're young, they say from sunrise to sunset.
Yeah, no, timing is a difficult thing, I think, but that's what it is really.
Right.
So suhoor is the time before Fajr.
Right.
And sunrise is obviously after Fajr.
It's before Jamaat time.
Jamaat time can differ. We're just talking about the start time altogether.
Yeah.
And then that talks about where the moon, sun's position is and the lines in the sky, etc. What breaks the fast medicinally? So some of these may apply to people, some may not. Again, it's just for our own knowledge. Or again, we have other people in our family, we have family members that may want to know this. Why can't you teach them? And endoscopy, along through with the camera, we cover the medicine lubricant pass into the body, break the fast.
It's through a hole again, isn't it?
Yeah. So if it's got no medicine lubricant on it, then it doesn't break the fast. It'll be very painful, I'm imagining, but the fast will remain intact. But because it's got medicine lubricant on it and it goes down, you force it down the passage, it will reach the stomach. And an endoscopy, as far as I remember, is actually looking into the organ inside. The contact lens, I think I just repeated that, but eye drops will come into this.
What about colonoscopy, which goes the other side?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same
right.
thing. Again, I'm not mentioning that, but the hadith actually mentioned that, when you do the skin job, people should be careful not to let water go inside and up. Maybe so, well, how does the physics work on that? Because they say the way the inside of the body is designed is that the water will be taken upwards by that organ, by that body part. So again, that actually has a passageway to the stomach. So they say any water that enters through there can break the fast.
So you have to be careful if you use a bidet, for example.
So careful even when you do kulli on this side, and careful when you do sinja on the other side.
Right, okay.
The oxygen mask or inhaler, the more common, breaks the fast. Why? Because it contains medicine which expands the airways. Again, it's something that's come into the body via the root. If there was some way to do it by the pause, then what would be the ruling? Wouldn't break the fast as we learned. But because it does go through here, we have to look at what's going in. Since it's medicine, it's a foreign body, it will break the fast. Pills and tablets, understandable, it will break it. If there's a way someone can take it by injection, then that will be a better way.
What about drops into your ears if you've got an ear infection? Would that? So
the ear drops, again, is a modern ruling. The ruling throughout quite a few centuries was that it would break. It wouldn't break. The ruling was that it would break. Now the ruling is it would only break if you use eardrops if you had a perforated eardrum. Meaning if your eardrum was damaged to the point where a hole is opened up where it can come into different passages, only then would eardrop.
Okay.
So alhamdulillah, I'm assuming most of the drugs have perforated eardrums, so we should be okay. Nose spray and eye drops, again I mentioned this a few times now. There's a manfal between these and the throat, so they should be avoided. An important note though, people think, okay, my fast is broken, I've vomited, I've done this, I'm just going to start eating then. They say, and the ruling is that the one who breaks the fast must observe the state of fasting, out of respect for Ramadan. Again, we expect Allah to give you the blessing, but you're not a faster. But you should still behave as if you are fasting. Just as the advice for the women is that if you are going through haid and you have the ability to eat and drink whenever you want, you can eat in front of people or you can eat in private. But the advice is to eat in private.
Yeah.
You can work it out, can't you? If a woman eating in private during Ramadan, you can easily deduct why. And they say these sort of things will be better kept private. So the advice is that a woman should be strict to being private. A man should be strict to being private as well. Why? If I come here and start eating a sandwich, people can say, oh, look at Imam Sahib, what reason will you have? Then my reason could be something sincere, or illness or something. But again, people will make these ideas better to avoid.
It affects the person, doesn't it, that is fasting.
Okay, what does not break the fast? Now this is, I'm just going to mention the medicinal ones first. Cupping and dialysis. The extraction of blood. This is a sunnah. The Prophet would actually do cupping during Ramadan. But supplement this, and the opposite would be blood transfusion. Dialysis and cupping is to take blood out. A transfusion would be to replace it. By replacing it, you're putting something back into the body, that won't break the fast. But here, when he's just talking about taking it out, it does not break the fast. Extraction is a key point here. So cupping is to take blood out, dialysis is also to do the same thing. So that would not break the fast. X-rays and CT scans, there's no entry into the body. Even the rays and all that, they don't affect you because they don't give you no sustenance. However, what I read was that in certain CT scans, I believe, they give you an oral medicine which makes it easier for the machine to detect what's inside your body. If you were to make you take that, then your fast will break. Right. If someone is in that case, and again we see the state of the NHS at the moment, to get to an appointment you're lucky. Someone says, okay, I did it till after Ramadan, because an issue, and say, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful, then if you have to, then you have excuse for that. but you must make up the fast afterwards.
Yes, barium, I think they put in to make it.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Bandages with medicine. Again, they put a bandage on doesn't affect it. If I've got an open wound and I put medicine, if I put a bandage on with medicine on it, some antiseptic or whatever it may be, that will not break the fast. And I hope you brothers remember why. Because anything that enters through the pores does not break the fast. Just on based on that, we got someone with ulcer. You'll be able to use Marjana because why the taste will come. It'll be a pain you have to bear. Injections, there's an ikhtilaf on this issue whether they are allowed or whether they are not allowed. We err on the case of ease for people and that principle of the Ahnaf, the entry via the pores, not a passage, so it won't break the fast. These, and again, insulin. Again, it's a crucial thing. The people with diabetes, again, they will be exempt from Ramadan for all their lives maybe. So we say, no, that's not the case. We'd rather make a rukhsat, an excuse for them, so that they can fast.
It depends on what insulin they're on.
Yeah. So again, our Islam is a religion of inclusion. We just made it into a religion of exclusion, trying to take people out rather than doing whatever we can to bring them in. Okay. Saliva. So now saliva, regardless of the amount, regardless of even makes a full ocean in his whole mouth and decides to slide it, take it back down the throat, it will not break the fast regardless. But if there was something mixed with the saliva that gave taste or colour, then it would. For example, blood, any dye, anything you may have tasted prior, if that taste goes down the throat, then it would break the fast. Tasting, it does not break the fast. Again, anyone who's not a chef, anyone who's not in that job, people who are caterers, they work around food all the time, they are allowed to taste.
They're allowed to taste.
They're allowed to taste, and it won't be makruh.
Wow, didn't know
But
that.
those who don't have to taste but still taste, it will be makruh. Won't break your fast though. But if you do it intentionally for some sustenance to take back, it will. But I'm talking just taste.
By accident. Because I mean, most
No,
people
by
taste,
accident.
yeah.
So if you taste, you're allowed to. Because Allah said, and you know example they give it in every book, it's a peculiar example. They say if a woman has an abusive husband, a woman has a husband who's quite angry, quite violent, well they say violent, quite angry, and he comes home and there's not enough namak in the salad, there's not enough salt in the food, he'll get angry. So they say for this woman, it's a rukhsat for her that she can taste the food.
Wow.
Someone's a caterer. He has to taste the food before he sells it out. It's his business, it's his livelihood. So we give that rukhsat that you can taste your food. If a woman is chewing food for her small baby and she can't find anybody else to chew it for her who's not fasting, then it is not makruh for her. It won't break the fast.
So based on that last one you just said,
Yes.
at what stage does a woman is okay to fast? After, there's a gap in between, isn't there? Where you can fast, not just when you're feeding your child, your baby. So it's after that. Is there a period in between, or is it down to them to make a decision? Where a woman is breastfeeding a child, then obviously they wouldn't be able to fast.
Yeah.
So there's obviously going to be a period where they decide to start fasting again. Where does that come in?
That detail I'm not sure.
Right.
The only thing I'm aware of is that the pregnant breastfeeding woman, she's allowed to defer a fast, she can just do qada in daytime.
But would it break a fast if she was breastfeeding?
No.
No, so she could actually fast as well if she wanted to.
Most likely. Because again, like you mentioned, what's the principle of a fast breaking? Entry.
Yeah, not accept.
And if she's feeding, something exiting.
Yeah.
It could be an issue of wuzu, but I'm not sure on breastfeeding. With a wet dream, no effect on the fast. As soon as to wake up, whether it be in itikaf, even in the masjid, you think, oh my itikaf broken, my namaz. No. Even if someone was to remain, if someone woke up after suhoor and he had a wet dream, he didn't do ghusl, he could stay that whole day as a junub and it'd be allowed, his fast will still count. But again, he missed the namaz and still be able to God. But his fast will count, even if he did it as a junub.
Because it's accidental.
Even if he did it as an impure person, maybe he should have had a shower straight away. But the Islam said and the Fiqh said, even if he doesn't shower, his fast still counts.
But no, obviously not in the mosque.
No, the mother. Surma, provided it's not placed anywhere else, this is in a hadith. The Prophet himself gave us a ruling in Fiqh of fasting that your cold won't break your fast. Of the surma that we have. And forgetfully eating. You're eating, you are fasting, and you stop, you won't break the fast. But if you carry on eating, you obviously just broke your fast. You just remembered, and then you carried on anyway. Sinning, you'll make the fast makruh, and ultimately not accepted. You can have a valid fast, but you may not have an accepted fast. We say, we read our namaz. My namaz was valid, I did everything right, I didn't make no mistakes. But is it accepted in the court of Allah? That's the next step, isn't it, for us? Let's read everything valid, but next step is let's make sure it's in a way where it's accepted.
So you've gone through the motions rather than actual...
Yeah. So the sinning, like I said, if you're abstaining from food and drink, but you're not stopping swearing, you're not giving up music, you're not giving up drugs, all these sort of things, then your fast will be deficient. And again, I mentioned the hadith at the start that Allah says that whoever fasts but doesn't give up these things, what's the point? What have you learned and what are you doing it for? Vomiting, again, provided it is not a juice force and less than a mouthful, that's just the opposite of the point I mentioned when it does break the fast, when it's a mouthful. Intimacy. So a husband and wife are allowed to do whatever a husband and wife is allowed to do except dukhul, except entry. The only thing that a man and woman are allowed to do in. But there's a condition. Provided that they feel they are strong enough to control themselves. If they end up ejaculating, then their fast will break. But anything opposite or other than that, then the fast will not break. So whatever relations a husband or wife can do other than entry, that is allowed in Ramadan. Janaba, to be in a state where you need to do ghusl, again, like I mentioned with the wet rain, if you are in that state, your fast won't break. And brushing the teeth. Provided toothpaste is not tasted in the throat, it's a makruh. To use a toothbrush and toothpaste makruh, you're getting a sin for that. So really you should have done it before suhoor time.
Yeah.
But if you do it after suhoor time, some of us get to that point of eating and want to do it afterwards, you have to be very careful and reduce the amount of toothpaste you use. Make sure you're not keeping it in there for too long, spit out as much as you can.
Why risk it?
If you do brush your teeth and the taste goes to the back of your throat after suhoor, your fast is broken. There won't be a kafara, there will be a qada. So you have to be very careful when brushing the teeth. The reasons one can avoid fasting. Traveling, I'll just a quick summary. If you're traveling 57.5 miles, I'm going to cover that to the next slide, I believe. It's a qada, but better to fast. The woman is pregnant. She's in the latter stages of it. She can delay, she can make a qada of it after Ramadan, but she doesn't have to fast. Old age. People say, oh, I'm ill. Can I give fidya? Can I get money? This is for a Shaykhul Fani, an old man. And the fidya of today's rate, who I checked, was £7. So again, this will be for every fast that you miss. So if you were to miss all 30 days, it would be £210. And this is for the older, or the elderly people in our society.
They never do anyway.
But again, that's the sad thing, but those who are physically incapable, or they feel that it will be cause harm to them, they give a fidya. Again, we say this is actually a gift from Allah. Now they may not fast, but inshallah they will the gift of fasting. Hunger and thirst, again you get to that point where you're almost about to pass out or something like that. Allah's not going to force you to that point. Remember, it gets to a point where even if you are dying, if you're about to die and there's nothing, no food, no water around you, apart from some pork and some alcohol, those things become halal to you. Because your life takes importance, your life takes precedence. The same case here. If you get to a point where you feel, not that, oh, my stomach rumbled a bit. If you feel it, that look, this hunger is going to take me out, or this thirst, I'm going to pass out, then Allah, inshallah ta'ala, Allah will forgive you, and you can make a lot of that, so you can break it. Again, this may be children will go through that mainly. They'll struggle at first, the advice is to parents that the children, as soon as they become baligh, it's not a case of, come on, let's do it. You should motivate them, but it comes to a point that you must command them, order them to.
So what age is that normally?
So for a boy, it comes around 8, 9.
Right.
And some say 12, again the numbers differ. What I read today was 8. So they say by 8 they should be encouraged.
Right.
Once they hit the age of bulugh, once they mature, then they have to be told to fast.
Right.
So before they baligh, we're just trying to get them to feel what Ramadan is like. Once they baligh, it's a responsibility on them. They're young men now. That's what we call them. Here in Western, they call them children. For us, they're young men. So we want to treat them like that, we want to give them that responsibility.
So, would you say teenagers?
Teenage, I say younger than that.
Younger than
11, 12, and if they baligh, they have to fast.
Right, okay.
But this is why we say as parents, the best idea is you start them young. When they're 6, 7, 8, well not that young, but 7, 8, 9, 10, you say, why don't you fast from first message break?
I don't realise anybody ever asking. Most children want to do it because their parents are doing it.
And kids will, as long as the parents put it to them in a good way. They say, okay, eat at school, but when you come home, just wait with me until iftar time. These little things that you break into them. For example, they may not read sunnah in the first, get them to read the farz at least. This is the same advice ulama give to people who don't pray at all. You're going to tell a guy who's not read namaz for 10 years, I'll come in and read all your nafil. Say, brother, read your farz at least. And let him himself give into that need to read sunnah in the wafir. Illness. So again, if someone feels ill, I'm going to come on to that. It's not the next slide, the one slide after that. That when you say you're ill, what are the conditions to determine that? Again, like I said, it can't just be a whim or a feeling, it has to be something concrete. And menstruation and postpartum bleeding, this is the woman who said that she can give qada, she can make up for it. Now, when someone said I am ill, or I'm traveling, I can't fast, these are the 3 things that he can look at as a proof. So again, if you ever feel ill and you only say, look, I don't think I can fast, these are the criteria you can measure by. First, the effects of fasting are noticeable. You know, if I do fast, I'm going to feel very fatigued, my mouth is going to get so dry, these sort of things, then you have some evidence. Past experience, you have an illness, and you know last week in Ramadan when I fasted, this is what happened to me. That's a criteria or evidence that you can use. And the best one is the pious Muslim doctor's opinion. Pious is the underlying condition of asking the doctor. We'll go to the doctor now, they'll just chuck you some paracetamol and we'll go home. Say, no, you need a Muslim doctor who's not only understanding of the fiqh and sharia, but also pious himself. So he says, look brother, Ramadan is set, but look, you're not in the state to fast.
It's very different in this country now. Literally all medical staff have Ramadan booklets of all of this, so they don't have to be Muslim doctors at all now. The information is there.
But when they say Muslim doctor, they say because the opinion is going to have a value to them. Whereas when you say to a non-Muslim, it's not really going to affect them that you don't fast. Whereas to a Muslim, it's going to affect him and say Allah's command is not being fulfilled. So he'll be a bit more stringent, be a bit more strict. Okay, are you really ill? Let me have a look, let me check your pressure. Whereas the non-Muslim doctor will look for the minor sign and say, okay, yeah, you don't have to fast. But we have to judge ourselves by what do we want to stand in front of Allah. I want to be at a high level. I don't want to be weak in front of Allah. I want to be a strong worshipper. So again, you hold yourself to that account. The traveller's fast. For you to even have a traveller's fast, you can say, look, I'll skip it. It must be a minimum distance of 57.5 miles. So I measured that, I think, Huddersfield to Liverpool, 60 miles. It has to be a minimum distance of that. In the book, it talks about 3 days and all that. We've got cars now, we've got planes. So the ruling now is based on the distance.
It's based on the heat as well, really. Based on the heat.
So as long as 57.5 miles, some say 57.7, some say 57. This is the most popular opinion. You must be a traveller before Suhoor time. Before. It's not that, oh, after Sahri time, I wake up and I'm going to Liverpool, or I'm going to skip the fast. For you to be able to skip that day's fast, you have to have travelled before Suhoor time.
Right.
You have to have set off. If he intends to travel after Suhoor time, he must keep the fast. Meaning, if he says, okay, after Fajr with Jamaat, Suhoor was at 3 o'clock and the Fajr Jamaat at 5 o'clock, then I'm going to go Liverpool. Still have to keep the fast. He's traveling, but he's traveling through the day. For him to skip that fast, he has to have traveled before the day. If he intends to travel, sorry, I mentioned that. He can make the intention up to midday, again, provided that he has not eaten.
Good reason.
And if missed, he must be made up by way of Allah. So if he does take that rukhsat, that look, Allah said, I don't have to fast, I'm traveling, then he has to make it up by Allah. But it is more virtuous for him that he fasts. Allah said that in the Quran himself. That if you do fast, then you'll get even more reward, inshallah.
So plane, when you're crossing different...
Okay, so when it comes to the plane now, your time zone and your timing will be based upon the country that you're flying over.
Right.
So this is where it gets tricky now. So it depends on the plane you're going on. Quite decent planes will have a screen on there that will tell you what you're flying over. They will tell you what time zone you're in at the moment. They tell you what time you're at. Easy ways, like for example, what I used to do when I traveled is if you have the Dawud Islamic prayer app, you just set the country that it says on the screen that you're in, and on there give you all the namaz timings and the exact longitude where you are.
So not the country you're going to, you don't
No.
set that time, right?
Some may say that the strong opinion is that you go based on the way, country that you're in.
Right.
Because it's based on Ghurub Shams. So I remember what did I say from Ghurub, when Ghurub Shams happens, then you can do Iftar. But for you, Ghurub Shams not happened. So if you're in Morocco and you're trying to get Egypt, Egypt not had Ghurub Shams. Egypt has had it and Morocco's not had it yet. So you have different time zones, you have to go based on when the sun is for you. What they used to do back in the day, look at the sun and moon themselves. Obviously, we don't have that skill anymore, or a lot of us aren't learning in that. So we just go based off the apps and the information available to us. A lot of these things are easy. We just have to make use and look up how these things
That's
are
true. I mean, 50 years ago, just not have it that day and then start it again when we arrived at the other end and have an extra fast after Ramadan.
So I recommend to people that if you have the Salah app from Dawud Islami, there may be other apps that do it, I'm not sure, but you can set the location easily even without internet, without data, and it'll give you the exact timing for that day, for that latitude, for the exact coordinates that you're at, city by city. So that's how you can do it. So that's how I would pray Salah on the plane. I'll just look at what it says on the screen, change my namaz timings to that, and go according to that. Any of the questions and answers? I'm going to look downstairs in case there's any. If there are any questions and answers? No question, that's it. If not, then Jazakallah khair, I appreciate all of you coming. We'll do dua inshallah before we finish. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa ra'aqibat lil muttaqeen. As-salatu was-salamu ala sayyidil anbiya wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Allah, we ask of you that you accept our gathering here today. Ya Allah, we ask of you that you allow us to reach the month of Ramadan. Ya Allah, we ask of you that you allow us to act upon what we have learned today. Ya Allah, we ask of you that you allow us to keep our fast in a way which is not only valid but accepted as well. Ya Allah, we ask of you that you do not allow us to keep the fast of laymen, but allow us to keep the fast of the elect people, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, allow us to be people who act upon your saying that the one who fasts but does not give up lying and backbiting, his fast is wasted. Ya Allah, please allow us to be the people who give up these bad deeds and do not waste our fast. Ya Allah, in this month, those people who are disconnected from the masjid, disconnected from Islam, Ya Allah, disconnected from you, Ya Allah, we ask of you that you bring back that connection to them. Ya Allah, we ask of you that you bring them back to the masjid. Ya Allah, we ask you that you bring us closer to you. Ya Allah, in this month, allow it to be a month of transformation for all of us, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, the lessons and the good habits that we adopt in this month, Ya Allah, please allow us to carry them on after this month. Ya Allah, anything we have learned, Ya Allah, please allow us to apply. Anything that we have done wrong, Ya Allah, please forgive us. Allahumma rabbana atina fi dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. Ya Allah, please reward all those people who have attended today, Ya Allah, with the light of ilm, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, please allow all their fasts to be accepted. اللهم رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم